vehicles, green energy, and stock markets. It's Friday, and so I have Adib Khaldi from Simple Picks with me in here today. How's it going, Adib?
Good, David. How are you?
Pretty decent, pretty decent. Yeah, last week we had a good show, and what was interesting was you were discussing how some of those, you left a play up, and there was a couple of things, and I saw in your own Discord group you went over three of them, and how'd that work out?
Well, David, again, thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. A big fan of EVs and what's to come in the future. Uh, as of last week, we discussed a few of those plays. As I said, I put my money where my mouth is. Took those plays on Monday after we discussed them on Friday afternoon. Uh, Performance has been stellar. The predictions came true. Tesla rose by about $15 a share, give or take, which equated to about 6%, 6.5%. Really extracted the play out of that one. Bought some options. Got about a 200% gain on the options on a short-term basis. Got out of there. And then we also took a look at Lucid, and we took some leaps on those, as we like to call them, where we buy option calls that are 3 to 4 months out. These ones specifically, I decided to buy the January ones, which are 2 months away now. Safe to say, Lucid was also up about another 5 or 6%, about 15 pennies, 15 to 20 cents. Which equivalent was the equivalent to about a 35% gain on those options, and we have plenty of time to go. So far so good. First week, I think we hit it on the money, and we can definitely look at things again and see how they've progressed throughout the week.
And options are inherently quite risky. So
If
I
you don't
like
know
to
what you're
just
doing, if you don't know what you're doing, yes, of course, anything can be risky. But if you know the option strategies that you'd like to take, if you have a plan, if you know and you follow the stocks like we do, and you kind of map it out, it can be low risk and high reward. Of course, nothing gives you 100 or 200% return on a single trade. That isn't going to be risky. Of course, it's going to be risky. There's
right.
maximum downside that you lose that whole amount of money you put in. But we like to take our odds.
No, I understand. I understand. I just kind of wanted to throw that little disclaimer in there, you
Of
know,
course.
so
You can
because
you
I
can
don't.
lose all your money.
Right.
It's not something that anybody should take lightly. You should always do your own due diligence, check your own forms, read your own prospectuses. This is not a game, but if you do it and you have an edge, it's always good to have a little fun and make a little bucks on the
Well,
side.
and do practice trades till you know what you're doing.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
you got to
absolutely,
learn with practice trades where you're
100%.
not using real money.
Real money, correct, correct.
Anyways, let's go ahead and let's start. Let's talk about Tesla. Let's see what they're doing today.
Pull up the screen here.
Seem to be down a little bit today, but they're still what, around $237.
Today, my good friend, we're going to take a look at Tesla here. Tesla is at $237. Um, Now, previously, I don't know if this was the chart that I used. Let me take a look here on the show. I do know that I used one that I kind of drew up on. I don't know if I still have it. Anyhow, Tesla, I believe on your show when we talked about it was at the 230 mark. That would have been last Friday. So if we take a look here, last Friday Tesla was anywhere floated. I think it was around 232 to 237 that whole day, and it closed at around 234, 235. What I had, put a play out, kind of an actionable there was the 242 call. I said, we'd be buying some calls at 240 or 242. Safe to say, Tesla went as high as 252. So we had a total home
Oh
run
wow.
there. The 242 options that we had purchased for the week, again, they were up 200%. But had I held them out all the way, I like to do a lot of risk management. Had I held them out all the way, they went as high as being up 5 to 600%. from the point of purchase. So definitely the premiums were jacked up, and it was an excellent play. It's done for me now, as you can see, 252 2 days ago. Yesterday we had a dip down all the way to 241, 242. Today we dipped all the way down to 232 back again. So obviously we extracted all the fun out of there. Where do I see Tesla going now? I still do like this upper trend line, as I had pointed out before in the last stream. So it's going to get really tight here, guys, over the next couple of days. I do believe we're going to get a lot of action here and potentially as a move upwards. As I said, to that 250 to 300 zone. My long term outlook on Tesla is bleak. I'm more bearish than I am bullish on Tesla, just because of where it sits on a longer time frame, from a technical perspective. But there's upside to be had there, so we stand to see what'll happen.
What's interesting is Tesla announced the rollout of the Cybertruck yesterday.
Yep.
Okay. And so the first ones were being delivered, and you'd think that would be exciting news for the world, but I guess it was kind of a dud. So you just never know.
You ever heard of the famous saying, by the rumors, sell the news?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. Everybody sold the news.
Yeah, apparently. Apparently. Well, you just never can tell where that's going to go. So you don't see much, it doesn't really look like the stocks moved a whole lot
No,
since.
no.
Oh,
Well, the S&P this week is up tremendously. It's up about 4 to 5 points this week.
mhm.
Over the last month, it's up about 20 points. So uh, definitely markets have been moving higher. Again, previously on my platform, I initiated a long call on the S&P 500 at around 4150 or 415. Again, since
Mhm.
then, we're almost at 460 now. So we've been able to again extract tremendous value. Economy is looking really strong right now. The Fed chair, Jerome Powell was speaking today. Inflation numbers are looking really good. Consumers are strong. They're able to afford things right now. Black Friday deals were robust. Tons of money making for the big corporations. So it's a scary time for me as a person who looks at the markets. I feel like it's a scary time because how much higher do we go, and how much more of a bubble are we going to keep building. Lots of these valuations were based on revised numbers after COVID had occurred. They're not
Mhm.
numbers that are higher than COVID. They're numbers that are much lower than COVID. So how much are we going to keep beating, and how high do we keep going until reality really sets in? As a market participant, I am sidelined right now. I'm leaning towards the bullish side on just the very short term in the stock market. But I'm very cautious. I'm very cautionary. I do speculate. My speculation is that we are going to come down, and we're going to get hit really hard in the new year.
Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's look at Lucid, LCID.
Lucid. Yeah, Lucid. Well, I do recall when we looked at Lucid, it was around $4.15 or $4.20. I mentioned that this is going to for sure break out. Obviously, nobody knows anything is for sure, but that breakout did occur here, as you can see. Excuse me, as you can see in our chart here. I will highlight it with a circle. So this is where the breakout had actually happened. I personally purchased some options at $4.20. We were able to get as high as $4.60 out of it, and currently we're at $4.32. I have pretty positive outlook as of right now on where Lucid stands. It's performed a little bit stronger than Tesla, obviously because the stakes for it are lower than Tesla. Tesla moves the total EV world. Lucid is still upcoming. I'm going to say an infant company, but it's still upcoming and kind of still hasn't really got its bolster of news behind it. So what do I see? I like it as long as we can maintain above this $4 mark. I'm going to remain bullish on Lucid. And again, not any financial advice. My personal views. I have a long position for a $5 call for January 17th, 2024, which is currently, I believe, up about 25% or so. I'll double check right now for us, but we are in the money on that call. Uh, I don't see any sign of having to sell it as of right now. Let me
Okay.
just take a look. We're actually up. We are up about 18% right now. So dipped a
18.
little bit. Dipped a
Nice.
little bit today. This morning it was up about 30%. So uh, it's a leap. So you can
Right.
afford to hold. You can afford to hold it. It's not like we need to sell these options tomorrow.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Let's move on to Rivian.
Rivian.
RIVN.
Excellent, Rivian. Well, one of my team members at Simple Picks was actually long on Rivian BG. I think you're familiar with him. So
Yes. Hmm.
he's done very, very good on the options, throughout the years. He took the 17 calls when I believe it was like $16.50, so just around here. He got it right as well. It seems like all of EV is really breaking out, as I said, of this downwards channel. So Rivian, I like it. It's looking pretty optimistic here on daily time frame. This is a very, very actionable call. Again, putting my money where my mouth is. I'm going to watch Rivian here. I'm not going to initiate a call on this right now, but I do want to see Rivian close today above $17.50. That's probably about another hour and a half. So chances are that's likely to happen based on the strength today. It is up 6% today. It's up $1 and 1 penny, and as long as it holds above there, I'm pretty bullish. I will probably shop around and look at some calls. What I would buy would be about probably the 18 and a half dollar call in anticipation for the push here up to about $19.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and just real quick go through these other ones. I want to look at VinFast today. That's VFS. This is the one that had the crazy like $80 billion market cap, you know, for like a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
Still showing an $18 billion market cap. They've only sold like 1% of their stock into the market. So it's a little screwy. It's a Vietnamese
Oh,
electric car manufacturer that's selling in California now. And it's
whoa!
it,
They're at 18. They're 18 billion right now.
right.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy that their valuation is so high. I mean, I just can't imagine anybody buying into this, but it's interesting to see how flat the stock has been.
I mean, look, it has an upwards trajectory.
Yeah.
Buyers definitely stepped in over the last couple of weeks around the $5 and $6 mark here, as we can see, just on top of this high resistance mark. So for me, anything above $7 on this stock is actionable. Would I buy this? Probably not. I just like uncertainty. I don't like things I don't understand that typically move, in tremendous strength in certain directions. Like, this to me is a no-no. I don't like these gaps that
Okay.
these stocks put in. Am I bullish on this? Uh, I'm a buyer at $6. Am I buying here today, right now? I mean, let's take a look at the short time frame. I don't like to do this. Uh, it has a chance of going higher. If I was to give a just at a glance peek, I think we see lower before we see higher on BFS.
Okay. Okay.
So I wouldn't touch this personally.
All right. Let's take a look at, I don't know where BYD trades. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I don't even know if it's actually,
Wait,
if it's,
or
no, not Boyd Gaming. No, I'm talking to this Chinese car manufacturer. I'm not sure if they trade. I know that Berkshire Hathaway owns 8% of the company. Oh, I think they're BYDDY. BYDDY.
Yeah, it's an OTC. That makes sense. Market cap of 80 billion.
Yeah, that would be them. I mean, they sell more cars than Tesla does. So
They are a clear downtrend. I would not touch this with a metal pole.
nice,
I
nice. All right,
I would
I've only
I would
got
steer
one.
away. Yeah,
I've only got one more for you today, and let's look at Neo.
Neo,
See if
and
there's anything
NIO.
interesting going on here. NIO.
Yep, NIO. Oh, not looking the
Last week it was
greatest.
uninteresting. Yep.
Yeah, nothing interesting. Again, nothing really. I can see that their earnings are date Monday the 4th. So they do have earnings on Monday. So if I'm going to speculate and go a little bit deeper on Neo, I'm going to say that they're going to rise. Neo looks at a pretty good inflection point on a lower time frame basis here, on a 4 hours and a 3 hour basis. So I do see that it's the coil is getting really tight here on this downtrend. As you can see, the downtrend started around October. It was at around $9. It's shed about well over 30% here since then. So it's getting really tight. When I see things getting really tight in terms of buyers and sellers, that tells me that the sellers are exhausted. This particular volume bar here on the 15th of November really tells me that the sellers are exhausted. The buyers really just haven't stepped in at all yet. So do I see any kind of action here? Yeah, given that we stay above, you know, if we stay as long as we stay above the $7 to $6.80 mark, I think we're gonna go higher. Thank you for pointing this out. I'm gonna consider it in the next hour here till the market closes. It's a potential, if you want to take some lottery pick, we like to call them. So never. Again, this isn't financial advice, but I don't suggest anybody to ever gamble or try to predict earnings. Okay, earnings are the most unpredictable things. Doesn't matter how many technical analysis or fundamentals you may have. Earnings are always unpredictable. So I suggest that if you are going to buy some calls, you do it with a grain of salt, knowing that you could lose all that money. I will, however, action some calls that are $8 for Neo. So $7.50 to $8. I'm probably going to take some calls and expect to lose it all. Okay, so don't expect this one to be anything magnificent.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and cut our show a little bit early today,
Hmm.
and because but we did cover all of our stocks for today. I appreciate you being on here today, Adib.
Of course,
And
thank you so
good
much,
as
David.
always, you give some really good information. It's really actionable information too, and I hope our listeners, um, enjoy this and find it very useful for doing their own research. Well, I got to
Absolutely.
go ahead.